Well, Tacoma's new police chief is expected to share his plan to tackle crime with the city council later today. And from shootings to theft, unfortunately, the city is seeing a lot of it. So joining us this morning, Tacoma Mayor Victoria Woodards joining us live. Mayor Woodards, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you all this morning?
We're doing fantastic. Thank you for joining us once again, Mayor. We always appreciate it. Mayor, let's get right into it. Have you talked to Chief Moore about the plan he's presenting today, and what are you hoping perhaps that he lays out?
Well, I have talked to Chief Moore. I talked to Chief Moore a lot.
Yeah.
But you know, we've been talking about this crime plan for months, and I am excited to be able to receive it today. I mean, obviously, we've continued to talk about, you know, everybody's highlighting these 3 points. This 3-point plan that's going to deal with hotspot policing, with place-based policing, and then with focused deterrence on offenders. So looking forward to hearing from the criminologist from San Antonio and our police chief about how they're going to implement it and what kind of difference it's going to make in our community to stop these violent crimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get into perhaps some of the details on how we're going to implement it, will this plan need extra money and, more importantly, extra staffing? And if so, where is that money and extra staffing perhaps coming from, if it does need it?
Yeah, well, you know, don't know that right now. You know, we have a staffing shortage, just like most police departments across the country. We've currently offered a $25,000 bonus incentive bonus for police officers who want to relocate to Tacoma. But I will say this, that particular initiative is going well. This may be the first year, even though we're still down about 47 officers, this may be the first year that we have a net gain in police officers. So while we're still dealing with retirements and attrition, we are on target to actually to hire more officers than we lose this year. So when we talk about is it going to require more funding? Well, we've already got funding for the 364 positions in our police department right now. So we're going to continue to recruit to those, and when those are all filled, when we are no longer at a net loss, then certainly we will look at what additional funding our department needs to be able to address crime in our community.
Well, the chief has said, you know, the limited rollout of phase 1, which is basically targeted high visibility patrols in certain areas, has achieved results. That's what he says, lower crime numbers in some areas. When do we expect the other phases to be, or what do we expect those to be, and when will those perhaps go into action?
Well, so I kind of talked about, you know, the other, you know, so right now we're looking at hotspots, right? So some of the things we've seen the chief do already is they're actually going out to these hotspots and doing shift changes in these hotspot areas. Just on Saturday, they did a shift change in the parking lot at 19th and MLK. So they're being very visible in the areas where we have had a significant amount of violent crime. And so I think that's one part. Now, when we get to place-based and focused deterrence, when we get into actually looking at going not just for the violent crime, but looking at the community as a whole, and then going out from there to see how we engage the community to help us make our city safer. And then the third phase being where we're still focusing on community, but then actually going out and focusing on offenders. So that, because we know, and you all stated the fact that, you know, 40% of the crime committed is 10% of that is done by the same offenders. So we also want to focus on offenders. So I think I can't give you an exact timeline. That's part of what I'm looking for today, having the experts tell us at what point do you switch from one to the other. But we certainly want to follow the recommendations of the professionals, of the criminologists, so that we can get the results that we're intended to get.
And then, Mayor, on the back end of this, and we ran a story about this earlier today here in King County, where the King County Jail had to close down for about 8 hours because there was a staffing shortage. So my question to you is, you know, on the back end, what about the courts and the support services, the jails? What's been the plan there? Will the city be able to accommodate perhaps a surge in arrests and or referrals, depending on what the plan entails?
Well, you know, I will say that we've had an opportunity. We have a great partnership with our jail. Our chief and Patty Jackson, who runs our jail here in Pierce County, have a great relationship. They are in constant contact with one another. But I mean, I won't sugarcoat it. Let's be honest. They're facing the same issues that King County is facing. That again, jurisdictions across the country are facing: a shortage of staffing shortage. Excuse me. And then in addition to that, COVID is still here. So we're continuing to work with Pierce County. We have had opportunities where if there's a certain level of offender that they're not taking, if we've got somebody who's in that particular level that we really need to secure, they've been working with us, but that's still going to be an issue. And so it is, I mean, we can do our part of going out and getting the criminal, but we've got to also make sure that our partners on the back end can do theirs. And so we're just going to continue to work with them and hope that as we come out of COVID, that we can hire the right amount of people and that we can make sure that we're able to not only arrest them, but to keep them in jail.
Well, Mayor, that is all the time that we have for today. We are looking forward to seeing what the chief has to say in terms of his plan for keeping the city of Tacoma safe. Mayor, thank you for joining us this morning. We always appreciate it.
Thank you. Good to see you all again. Thanks.
You too as well. Thank you.